video, and today I have a new camera angle. As you can see, I'm just testing some stuff out. Kind of want to be able to showcase my art wall as I put more art on it, and I also have a window on this side of the wall, which I thought would be nice to have more natural light coming in as opposed to just using my craft light to light everything over there. Anyway, so I have a confession to make. I did actually buy some fabric, even though I said I wasn't going to buy any fabric for 2023. Let me preface by saying it was a sale. And I know I shouldn't have gone to the sale fabrics at the craft store, but your girl likes a good deal, unfortunately. So I ended up picking up this super cute faux quilted, faux patchwork fabric for only $3 a yard. So I bought all of it, which was about 4.5 yards. I just love this fabric. I think it's so cute with the whole patchwork style on it. I love the chaos of patchwork. I just don't like piecing things together. That's why I don't make quilts. And it's also pink and blue, which are like my two favorite color combinations. So I don't feel so bad. We're going to use it today. So this fabric has very cottagecore vibes, so I think I'm going to try to do something kind of cottagecore-y. I did recently buy a pattern, well not too recently, I bought it last year, but I did buy this digital puffed sleeve maxi dress by SewingPandaPatterns. I will link that shop in the description below. And I think it's very cute. I think it will work. I will probably make this dress a little shorter just because the smallest size they have requires 5 yards and I only have 4.5 yards and I am not the smallest size. So we'll make some adjustments. And let us begin before I buy any more fabric, okay?
This may be a hot take, but I don't really like PDF patterns. I like them in theory as they're cheaper, no shipping costs or shipping times, and I assume it's easier for the drafter as they can make endless copies and don't need a hassle with mailing. However, I don't like them in practice. Mostly I don't like using tons of printer paper, especially for larger pieces like a skirt, which is mostly blank filler pages in sheets with a single tiny line through it. So to avoid wasting paper, I don't print out the skirt for this pattern. It's just a circle skirt and I can make one of those myself, which I don't because I don't have enough fabric anyway. So instead I cut 2 panels the width of the fabric to the size that I want it to be. Also, I should note that this pattern only comes in a size 16, so I did have to grade it up to a size 24. The pattern itself was well made though. Everything lined up as it should and it was easy to put together, except I did not cut out the bodice lining as I should have because I did not watch the instructional video on YouTube. It hadn't even crossed my mind to do that. So don't take this video as a how-to guide for this pattern, please. My only gripe with this pattern is it did not include pockets, so I cut out some squares for patch pockets. And you'll be surprised that I actually decided to make bias tape. While making the back tie, I ended up on this weird loop of bias tape making and just made an absolute ton of bias tape. Alright, I got all my pieces cut and I almost immediately decided to spice things up with some lace trim. I found this cream colored cotton tatted lace that would go perfectly with the cozy cottage vibes. There's so much of it, I ended up sprinkling it everywhere in this project, starting with the front and back bodice pieces. I took a quick pin fit test earlier and didn't like how low the neckline and back line were, so I added about a 1.5 inch band along the top as well. I like the look so much I did the same thing for the pockets, though they probably didn't need the extra depth. Who am I kidding? Is there such thing as pockets that are too deep? I based the lace along the top edge, and despite making copious bias tape, I finished the raw edge with the serger while telling myself I'll use the tape on the vertical seams. Spoiler, I didn't. Then I top stitch over the seam, making everything nice and flat like my personality. By the way, if you notice the band-aids on my arm, no, I did not get several small wicked tats that are too cool for YouTube. Mr. Black and I threw down the other day in an epic battle for the championship belt, and I sadly did not win. Mr. Black still reigns as the most ferocious feline in this house, 8 years running. Good for him. I sew the side pieces together, including the shoulder straps. Then I line up the center bodice pieces, ignoring the fact that I made them about 1.5 inches longer than intended, and now they don't line up as well at the top. I pin the open side of the back panels together so I'm not tempted to sew them to the bodice incorrectly. Which made me think, wouldn't it be cute if it had buttons instead of a zipper closure? So I decided to do that instead, which means I need to add a placket to the back for the buttons. For this task, I take a rib knit piece and eyeball about what looks nice. I stitch one side down, then flip and top stitch through both sides around the whole button placket. I serge finish the other back bodice piece, then repin them together. And then I decide, I don't really want to deal with buttonholes either. So I stitch the placket in place, effectively making this whole process a waste of time when I could have just cut one solid piece in the beginning. But hey, it's going to have cute buttons now. I rummaged through my abundant button stash for some suitably cottagecore buttons. Not being in love with anything in the box, I dump my mother load of white buttons and pick out some mismatched buttons. Nothing says cute and cottagecore like mismatched buttons. Stinkin' adorable. Next, I sew the rest of the bodice together, serge the edges. Yes, I know, I swear, I'll use that bias tape for something. The sleeves were pretty simple. I join the side seams, fold the hem, stuff in some elastic, then sew it to the bodice. Easy peasy. I make the skinny ties by making skinny tubes and then pulling them inside out, and there you have it. I join the lower skirt fringe pieces together, making an endless loop, which is similar to the dread I feel knowing I'll have to ruffle this later. At the very least, the fringe lines up salvage to salvage, so I don't need to finish the edges on the sides. Speaking of which, though, I finished the bottom edge by serging and folding over twice, and then securing with a top stitch. Ain't no way I'm hand stitching 5 yards of fringe. I join the front and back skirt panels, and I place and top stitch 2 rows around the pockets, followed by serging the raw edges of the top and bottom. Then, before attaching the fringe, I pin and sew the last remains of my cotton lace trim around the bottom hem, then gather and sew the skirt fringe over top. Feeling decidedly miffed I never used the bias tape, I decided to finish the inner shoulder edge by binding it in tape and hand tacking it to the front of the bodice and the back of the bodice, so everyone can see that I made bias tape and used it. I attached the skirt to the bodice off camera, and by this point I'm all funned out. So I hastily elasticate the waist and call it a day. And it is time for the reveal.
Well, there we go, another project down, and I must say I think this dress looks really cute despite not looking exactly like how it was intended to look. I don't know why I didn't think to read the instructions, or rather watch the instructions, because it is on YouTube. I'm so bad at following directions. But I think it came out well regardless. I made it my own, and I do really like it. I like that it doesn't have a zipper in it. For one, zippers are a nightmare, and two, I've been feeling a bit overly confined in my clothes lately, so I like that this is all stretchy, so, you know, even when I'm having my puffier days, I could still wear it. And I do really like these sleeves, how puffy these sleeves are. I love this material. I think it's super cute. It is certainly a lot less hassle than making my own quilted pattern fabric, that's for sure. So, full disclosure, I might be working on a quilted dress that is actually quilted, and it is taking forever. I think my one gripe about it is it's not quite as swooshy as the original dress, but that's because the original dress used a circle skirt pattern and I just used the rectangular squish down pattern, which is fine. It gets the same look in the end, but it's not nearly as swooshy or full. Unfortunately, you can't do bat wings with those kind of skirts, but it does look really nice and it is full, so I'm not mad about it. It's just I want to do bat wings. But I still like it regardless of that fact. Well, and now to move on to my new segment, which is a breakdown of all the materials and what I spent. I realized I did not do that last video on the Gothic Farmer, but there really wasn't much to break down as I got all that fabric for free. I already had the buttons. The only thing I did pay for on that was I bought the black dye, which was about $2.50. So I'm just going to retroactively say that I spent $2.50 on my blouse and overall combo that I did last time. But for this time, the breakdown goes, I bought the fabric for $3 a yard and I bought 4.5 yards, so that's about $13.50. And then I used 5 plastic buttons that were from my stash, so I didn't pay anything for them. At least didn't pay anything new for them. Let's see, and then I used quite a many yards of cotton lace. I don't remember if this was gifted to me or thrifted. Either way, it's been in my stash for quite a long time, so I didn't pay anything this year for it. Let's see, anything else? Oh, and the elastic. The elastic was in my elastic stash, so I didn't pay for it this year. So really, when it comes down to it, this dress only costs me $13.50, which really isn't that bad compared to box store dresses. The only thing is the time it took me to make this dress. Because I didn't watch the instructional video, it did take me a couple of hours to fiddle in my mind how to construct this. And then of course I kept making little changes along the way, which then added time. I can't even begin to tell you how bad I am at following instructions. So I think this actually came out to be about, I want to say like 7, 8 hours of work. Anyway, but that's not what I'm worried about this year. My time is free. Anyway, so if you like this video, please hit the like button, consider subscribing. I release a new video every other Sunday and sometimes a bonus video in between. And until next time, you have a good day. Bye. Hello, I'm Ariel and I'm back with a new video. Are you kidding? I just started. What are you doing?